But I want to talk about the cycle of abuse that is so prevalent here. And it has, like hierarchy, been passed down from race to race, species to species, and groups to groups, and also generation to generation. And here it all started with the Abraxans. It wasn't just them. It was a group of humanoid-based species whose ego went off the charts of their own self-importance, followed by greed, followed by subversion, followed by a complete dereliction in and of the sanctity of life. Living beings, planets, whole solar systems all deemed their property and did what they wished with it. Now, predictably, as the movie Jupiter Ascending covers, there were family disputes at the top levels. Again, that was all passed down, all fighting for more control and dominating more regions. Replicated with Alulu and Anu, Cain and Abel, Anu, Inanna and Marduk, Set and Osiris, all too familiar back then, and all too prevalent now in your own family structures. And this is what I spoke about recently about healing the past lines. It's not just our species that needs to do it either, but all in this universe and some beyond. All of it is one giant harvesting machine, designed to feed off anything that moves, except where it came to this human vessel, the elixir of life, as also stated in that movie. People placed on tables and the life force energy extracted. Today it is known as adrenochrome extraction. Same thing. And there's a common saying, as above, so below. But perhaps with this piece we need a new one, as before, and so it is now. And this has to be corrected by everyone going forward. And I mean everyone. This is a participation game, and all must abide by. The days of waiting for saviours to save people who largely won't even save themselves, but also people who put little effort into helping or saving themselves, is over. It's done. You save you, and you need to get that quickly. So who do you think taught them being the clowns and these elites, cabal, whatever you want to call them, that adrenochrome and other dark and light magic, neither of which is good? All passed down for those weak enough to sell themselves and souls out for the illusion of fame, titles, wealth and power. But also groups like the military to gain favour with what they think is new and advanced tech. It's not by a long shot. But also, you think an oppressor, which is the ones who gave them it, do you think they would give you their latest gadgets and put themselves under threat if you turned against them? Think again. These entities, whilst by far are not the brightest, they have perfected a system of control by the virtue of having raided and engaging so many other solar systems and planets. This is like a drug to entities of the psychotic mindset. Nothing is ever enough. Like a junkie always needs another fix. One could go back to many epochs of time, But things started to really get bad here around 150,000 years ago. With the arrival, yes, you heard that right, the arrival of the craft called Atlantis. No, Atlantis was not some continent in the Atlantic Ocean that collapsed into the sea. That continent that collapsed into the sea was Da'aria 40,000 years later, and was in northern Russia, not the Atlantic or the Pacific. Was there whole cities that resembled what Plato wrote? Yes, absolutely. But they were not our technological marvels, but theirs. For many years, humans lived peacefully with these off-world entities here, developed a high level of spirituality, in tune with nature and plant life, like the movie Avatar. Which is why so many people around the world came out of watching that movie crying, as was reported. Latent memories, and also a reflection of how bad things are here now, and so far removed from that past dance with harmony. The Ers were one of those groups that taught species a better way. It was they who began teaching the rest of humanity, outside of Da'aria, later known as Hyperborea, and its sister island, Thule. A better way to interact and be, until the dark forces called the Koshis back then. More familiar names would be the various reptile groups, ant-based groups, but also humanoids like the Abraxans and the Aldazani. Various species have had their upbringing here, including the Draco, until one group wiped out their food supply, the dinosaurs, which then left humans as a new source of food on their menu. You see, it's consequences of actions. It has different timelines by removing just one item. It's a symbiotic effect. That one decision changed everything. Certainly we were not top of the food chain anymore. But the cycle of abuse went further as more and more fake gods turned up, be it Roman, Greek, Egyptian or Sumerian. None of them were gods at all. None of them were godly either. Just a repeat of the previous cycles of abuse that went round and round like a hamster in a wheel. Real godly people, by godly I mean those of higher soul growth development, teach others, not destroy them. But teaching this particular vessel and species was deemed by the dark forces a must stop at all costs item, and so it unfolded. 16,500 years ago, back came the Draco with their lies and promises of help and support, and despite warnings by the elders here, the tribes went ahead and took the seducement pill. But all too quickly that faded and a full-on control system was underway. The parents, their version of Humans 1.0, created much earlier, were designated to control the humans on the planet, and they were abused and lied to by the Draco. The parents, or 13 of the 21 of them, ran the next stage down, the Covens, the Dark Magicians, the Watchers, game players and general all-round evil to run amok amongst the population, oblivious of their powers, existence, or if it was all real or just magic or just a coincidence. There are no coincidences in life, and this group largely played those roles. But they were abused and lied to by the parents. The covens then control the families, the bloodlines, the royalty, the dragon groups, mainly the blue, green and black et al., who were abused and lied to by the covens. The 301 families controlled the Bilderbergers, the Club of Rome, the Freemasonic and the other secret society groups, religious orders, the factions, the military, the security groups, and subsequently down to the pit of the control system, known as politicians. All these groups are in the bottom 25% of the former control system. All these groups were abused and lied to as well. These groups controlled those outside of the system. That's us. And they abused and lied to us. We then created another system amongst us and abused and lied to each other. Are you seeing the pattern now? The cycle of abuse just rolls on over 100,000 of years and is still prevalent today. Now, much of that structure and abuse has been eliminated or rendered barely operable. They have on each level with the ones they have left. They have to correct their ways and their abuse. And they also have to admit that they were lying and they were lied to also. Now we, outside of the control system, have to do likewise. Quit the divide and conquer that is largely based in the comparative mindset game, which we discussed earlier. It has not served us well. In fact, it's not only not served us well, it's not served us at all. It's a death and debt cycle. We have not served each other well. And we can make excuses until the cows come home as to why. But as I've stated previously, there was never a law or an executive order stating for humans not to care for each other. We did that. The cycle ends with us. We're at the bottom, but we are the many. The cycle can be broken by us and filtered up the chain of the former command structure. Be the way shower. And remember,